Hello, room 46. So this is continuing our lesson on Androcles and the lion. Before I asked you to put the 10 key events in order and write a summary. So if you've done that, fantastic. If not, I want you to do it, and you can send it to me through Google Docs. You can write it down, take a picture, send it to me. It's difficult with the grading, but I'm trusting that you are doing your work. Okay, so we read this together, if you know what I mean, and I asked some comprehension questions. So I'm going to just go ahead and read it to you one more time, and then we're going to find some vocabulary words that we don't understand. I'm going to show you how to use context clues and find your own definition, and then you have to look up the definition on your own. So, are you ready? Androcles and the Lion by Aesop. Androcles, an escaped slave, comes face to face with a man-eating lion 2 times in the story. How will he survive this life-threatening situation? Back in the days of the Roman Empire, a slave named Androcles escaped from his master and then fled into the deep, dark forest. Deep and dark are adjectives because they're describing the forest. I'm going to stop and say things like this because I want to make sure that you remember what adjectives and nouns are and how they make stories sound even better. While wandering about in the dense woods, he came upon a lion lying down and loudly moaning and groaning. At first, Androcles turned to flee, but finding that the lion did not pursue him, he turned back and went up to the beast. You might be wondering, what do they mean by pursue? Well, let's see. At first, Androcles turned to flee. If I saw a lion, I would probably flee, I would believe means run away, right? But finding that the lion did not pursue him, meaning pursue means probably to go after him. So at first, Androcles turned to run away, but finding that the lion did not go after him, he turned back and went up to the beast. As he came near, the lion put out his paw, which was swollen and bleeding. Androcles found that a huge thorn had got into the paw and that was causing the lion's pain. Androcles pulled out the thorn and then bound up the paw of the lion. The grateful cat rose and, not unlike a house pet, licked the hand of Androcles. Then the lion took Androcles to his cave. Every day he brought Androcles meat, which filled Androcles' stomach, but shortly afterward both Androcles and the lion were captured and sent to the city to be part of the public spectacle. The slave was sentenced to be thrown to the lion in front of the emperor and all his court. Meanwhile, the poor lion had been kept without food for several days, so he was ravenous. Ravenous. What do you think ravenous means? He was kept without food for several days. That's a big key. Those are context clues right there. So try to figure out what ravenous means. And all thought he would devour Androcles in an instant. The time came and Androcles was led into the middle of the arena. Soon the lion was let loose from his den and rushed bounding and roaring toward his victim. But as soon as the lion came near to Androcles, he recognized his friend. The lion fawned upon him and licked his hands lovingly. The emperor, surprised at this, summoned Androcles to him. Androcles then told him about how he had helped the lion by removing the thorn, whereupon the emperor pardoned and freed the brave slave and let the lion loose in his native forest. So, again, what does this say about the bond between two people, between two living things that have helped each other survive? Okay, so I don't want to spend too much time on this. Now, the next thing I want you to do is I want you to look at this. Now, this is in your Unit 6 book, not the one where all the stories are, but the other one that just has these charts, you can find it there. There are some vocabulary words that I want you to figure out what they mean. So, for example, spectacle. Well, how do I figure out with the context clues what spectacle means? I go back into the story and I find that word. I'm waiting so that you can find the word. And here it is, right? So we look both, but shortly afterward, both Androcles and the lion were captured and sent to the city to be part of the public spectacle. Well, using context clues, it says public. So he was put in front of the public, which means he was put in front of the emperor and all his court. So those are my context clues. It doesn't tell me what it means, but I'm using the words around it to help me figure out what the word spectacle means. So again, I noticed that it says it's public, which I know public means anyone can see it, and in front of the emperor and all his court. So perhaps when I go back to my chart, right, you can write this down, or I believe you can use this to write things down. As long as you write down what each one means and your definition and then the dictionary definition, you can always Google the definition online. It's fine. So the spectacle for the context clues would be, one of our clues is public, and it would be in front of the emperor and all his court. Those are my context clues. Now, I can write that out here. But I don't want you to worry too much about this because it takes a while. You have to really play around with these tools. And so, like, I can have a note here. Okay. You just have to play around with them. So it's okay if you can't write in here. So then together we would try to figure out, using public in front of the emperor and all his court, what spectacle means. And what I would say that it means is something that happens in front of people. And if I look this up in the dictionary, okay, I can go here, I can go to definition of spectacle. A visually striking performance or display, an event or scene regarded in terms of its visual impact. So you see there's lots of ways to find it and examples. So from the definitions, I would say that it means a public display or show. Okay, so now I want you to go back and do your own work with ravenous, bounding, fond, and pardoned. And if you see, it has the paragraph number for each word. Okay, so that's your first assignment. Next, after that, what I want you to do is I'd like you to open that book that I showed you, the green one, and you'll see that in your assignments. So this is the one that we're working on. The other one has all the charts you need. Remember how you annotate. I know things are different because we don't have our books, but it's okay. All right, after you do Androcles and the Lion, I want you to read Brushfire. It's a play. So you can read it to yourself, you can read it with a sibling, however you want to read it. I want you to read this. And then I want you to fill out this chart in some way. You can copy it, like you can just copy it onto a piece of paper. So the story, so first of all, it says, what skills and character traits do the main characters use to survive their predicaments? Predicaments mean they're situations, they're difficult situations they're in. Then choose one character who you think is most heroic and explain why. So, for example, it says Androcles and the Lion. That's the story. The character they're talking about is Androcles. They want to know the different skills and traits that he has that make him able to survive. So, for example, I could say, well, Androcles is brave. He is resourceful, meaning he knows how to help out. He is compassionate because he helps the lion. He is a survivor. So those are some skills and traits about Androcles that I would write here. Now for the rest of them, you would do the same thing. You would write skills and traits for the lion. And in the story Brushfire, which you're reading on your own, you would write the skills and traits of Ed. And then here you would want to write who is most heroic to you and why, meaning which one is the bravest and why. Okay. And that there's nothing, this is just kind of open-ended, meaning you don't have to pick this. There's no right answer as to who's the bravest. It's in your head. Okay. So then after that, I'd like you to write down some questions you might have about the essential question, which is what compels us to survive. You can do this if you'd like, but I don't expect it. When you're done with this chart, just a second. I will say that with Brushfire, it's a play. It has multiple characters. And you're going to read to learn what the characters experience as the fire gets closer and circle key events in the play excerpt. So again, you can list key events in order. You can list 10 of them in order and write a summary. Same thing as before. I will go over Brushfire more in our next lesson. However, I would like you to read it, as I said, write down 10 key events, and do the chart on page 11. Now, I would like to move on to our spelling patterns, which are A, W, and AU, which make the sound ah. So, for example, AL always, ALK chalk, ALL small, AU cause, AW claw. I wrote down, or I added the grammar spelling book to your assignment, so that should be there. you can do a word sort chart or not. Okay, that's not working. So here are your spelling words that you can practice. They all have the ah sound. So you can write them down, write them 5 times each, write them in a sentence. You can pause this and write them down. Okay. Now going back to the text. This story, what you're going to do is you're going to read this story. Now, this is all going to be, this is throughout the week. So don't stress out like, oh my gosh, this all has to be done by Wednesday. No, just listen to what I'm asking you to do and take your time and complete it by Friday. So this story, I want you to find the AU, the ah spelling patterns. So for example, here's always. So you could write Sinbad in the Valley of Diamonds, words. And I'm sorry, I can't really show you. It's difficult to, actually, you see here? Okay. So I pressed on this and I can write spelling okay, and then I can also then I can write always. Okay, so just go through this story and find the spelling patterns with these spelling patterns, okay? All right, so let me make sure we know what we're doing. So the first thing you're doing, again, these are the spelling patterns. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you have completed reading Androcles and the Lion and putting it 10 details in order and writing a summary. On the first video, I asked questions about the story, so I want you to answer those questions. Then you're going to read it again, or you listen to the reading that I just read to you, and then you're going to fill out this chart however you can, using context clues, how explained, writing your own definition, and finding the dictionary definition. After that, you're going to read the story Brush Fire. The play, you're going to read Brush Fire. Obviously, write down key details, 10 key details in order, and write a summary. So just get used to that. 10 key details in order, write a summary. After that, you are going to fill this chart out, as I explained before. And then, after that, you are going to find your spelling patterns in this story right here. Now, do I expect all of this to be done immediately? No, I do not. I know it's going to take some time. I know that you might have questions. I want you to try your best. This is all new, right? So doing this online, it's all new. So again, if you can't figure out how to write it on here, just write the chart out on a piece of paper and just do it that way. Write your spelling word, write the spelling patterns on a piece of paper and just do it that way. When the next time that I do a video like this, we will be reading the extended read. I will be going over this with you. I will be checking the vocabulary as well as the spelling patterns. So it's difficult because, of course, I want to have participation and all of those things, but it's very difficult with my internet to be able to teach online. So hopefully this works and hopefully you're learning. And I think that's it. I think I've pretty much told you what we're doing. So if you want to move on, you can start reading this extended read and writing key details about it. It's going to be about surviving in the snow. And we're going to go over problem and solution. Okay? So again, that is for next time. Don't worry about that. But if you want to go on, you can. All right. Well, I think that's about it for today. I think you have enough to do. Again, if you need any help or you need me to explain something, please do not hesitate to ask. I'm here for you and I want you to learn as much as you can in the next couple months or however long we have left, okay? We are in this together. All right. Bye, guys. Bye for now.